What's up, Knicks fans? Welcome to another edition of Knicks Latest, your go-to YouTube channel for everything New York Knicks. We're talking rumors, headlines, trade ideas, all that good stuff, all leading up to the most anticipated Knicks season in 25 years, in my opinion, in my adult life, in my opinion. This is the first time that I could confidently say the Knicks are the favorites to win the Eastern Conference and get to the NBA Finals, making it the most important season of my adult life. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment. Make sure you like the video. We're building a community here that not just talks to me on the show, but talks to each other as well. We do have a YouTube comment to get to today. I will be doing that throughout the season as well, taking your comments, questions that you leave on the videos and answering them and commenting on them. Definitely want to get a community here going on Knicks Latest. Let's get right to it. Christian Winfield, beat reporter for the Daily News, said that the Knicks will likely run it back and probably sign a Landry Shamet or DeLon Wright to the roster. And this is not surprising to me at all. And out of all the sources that we have, Ian Begley's up there, but Christian Winfield to me is one of the more reliable and trustworthy sources. He follows the team. He's a writer for the team, somebody who is on the inside, who I trust very much with his information. And I have been saying this for a little bit as well. I thought the Knicks were probably going to sign Landry Shamet. If you watch this channel, you know that's who I want. You also know that's who I think they are leaning towards. You know, I think if they were going to go with Ben Simmons, they would have done so already. Same with Russell Westbrook. He, as talented as Westbrook has been throughout his whole career, I feel like it's kind of weird he hasn't found the spot and someone has snatched him up, especially a contender like the Knicks. And if he was, you know, if they felt that highly about him, they would have snatched him up by now. To me, a Landry Shamet, even a DeLon Wright who can play point guard and fill that need if Jalen Brunson goes down for a couple games, or if you need a backup point guard to handle the basketball. Someone you saw do it in the playoffs last year against the Indiana Pacers. You know, he was brought over in the trade deadline for Jericho Sims. Wasn't really expected to have a role in the team, but, you know, Deuce went down, Jalen went down, DeLon Wright came in, held it down for the team, played well, was able to earn Tom Thibodeau's trust to the point when he went to the bench in the playoffs. DeLon Wright got some minutes, and even though I think he struggled a little bit offensively, did a fantastic job defensively, brought great energy, and I thought was a very nice piece to have off the bench in the playoffs. So it doesn't surprise me here that Christian Winfield's reporting that he is also a possibility here, and this is good news for me. I think Leon Rose and company have their head on straight here. You know, last year against the Indiana Pacers, Eastern Conference Finals, when Tibbs went to the bench, these two players stepped up, and they showed you that they could be a part of a rotation that goes deep into the playoffs, and they can contribute. You know, there are many reasons why the Knicks lost that series against the Indiana Pacers, but I don't think you can point to the contributions of a Landry Shamet or DeLon Wright. They were positives, and they were welcome additions, and I would gladly accept them for, you know, a 10th man off the bench, or, you know, somebody who is an emergency starter, or someone who gets an emergency 15, 20 minutes in case someone's resting or injured. I would welcome this with open arms. I don't think it, you know, impedes on the chemistry of the team or the makeup of the team. I think Landry fits in the sense where we need a 3-and-D shooter, somebody who doesn't need the basketball. I think DeLon fits in where, you know, a lot of Knicks fans, you commented on this show how, you know, what if Jalen Brunson goes down for a little bit? We don't really trust Tyler Kolek. We don't really trust anybody else on the roster to run point. Well, we saw DeLon Wright run point, you know, last year. Some points he's been a starter throughout his career at some points. You know, he's absolutely not even close to Jalen Brunson, but he's somebody who can at least run an offense and be competent in bringing up the basketball, and a very good defender. So if this is true, what Christian Winfield's saying, I welcome this with open arms. I think this is the move that the Knicks should make at this point. You only have money to give out a vet minimum. You know, Malik Beasley has the option to sign with other teams outside of the Knicks who can offer him more money. I know right now that's the dream scenario for Knicks fans. I just don't think it's realistic. Like I said over and over again with Ben Simmons and Russell Westbrook, I just don't think the fit is there. When you have Josh Hart, who might come off the bench this year, you might have to stagger minutes between Hart and Westbrook, or Hart and Ben Simmons, and that's two players who defenses are going to sag off of. I just don't know how Mike Brown staggers those minutes if Josh Hart comes off the bench. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me in that aspect. So I think what Winfield is reporting here makes the most sense. Now, Moving on, I read an article from Empire Sports that they think that the Knicks should acquire Corey Joseph, who was on the Magic last year. The Magic, very similar to the situation I'm saying now, they dealt with a lot of injuries, and Corey was able to step in and contribute to the team. He wasn't Jalen Suggs by any means, but, a steadying presence on the court. He's somebody who, again, kind of like DeLon Wright, better offense, 100% better offensively, but someone you can trust with the basketball who's not going to be catastrophically bad. You know what you're getting with Corey Joseph. He's a veteran. He played with the Spurs. Good offensive player. He's someone I would welcome as well. This is the type of move that I would rather see. Someone who can just fill in when needed. This is a vet minimum roster spot. This isn't something where we're looking to really change our rotation or change the makeup of the team. These are our options at this point. So you want something that's steady, you know what you're getting, and they can fit in easily if need be. And Corey Joseph is one of those players as well. Point guard, very same things I said about DeLon Wright, can come in and just fit right in. I wouldn't say similar to Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm's taller. Malcolm's a better defender. So if you were to ask me who I want between the two, I would want Malcolm Brogdon, but I would not be mad at Corey Joseph, a veteran presence who has been in the playoffs, who has played in big games, who could be, a good locker room guy as well. I understand the thought process with wanting Corey Joseph. This is something I would take, but this is something, again, I don't think is on the Knicks' radar. This is the first time that I even read something like this with Corey Joseph. Empire Sports Network, they're not a huge network, but if you're writing about the Knicks, if you're talking about the Knicks, if you are doing deep dives on the Knicks and care about the teams, I'll listen, I'll read, and I'll take your opinion seriously. And I think this is one to take seriously. I don't think it's a bad idea. I just don't think it's going to happen personally. But let me know what you think. Do you think Corey Joseph is someone who maybe you weren't thinking of, but now you are? Or maybe someone you would consider? Would you rather Corey over DeLon Wright? Would you rather Corey over Landry Shamet? Tell me what you think. All right, we're going to close the show here with a YouTube comment. And this comment is coming from Patrick, and he says, this upcoming season, Josh Hart and Deuce will be exposed, which to me is wild, man. Come on, what are we doing? we're Knicks fans here. What do you mean exposed? Listen, here's what I'll say. If these two players were going to get exposed at any point, it would have been last year. Josh Hart inserted to the starting lineup, playing 30, 35 minutes a game. I don't think he was exposed in the sense that he was the reason why the starting lineup did not work out. I think it was just more kind of a chemistry issue. But Josh still had a really good season. I don't know if y'all remember, by the All-Star break, there was a little bit of hey, Josh might be an All-Star. He could be an All-Star. Maybe he should be an All-Star. He was playing that well in the first half of the season. And to me, Josh has been in the league too long for you to say he's going to get exposed. We know what Josh Hart is. He's too valuable. He's already set in what he is in his NBA career. This is not like a second or third or fourth year player like Deuce McBride who, is learning the game and learning the ropes and is in his young 20s. No, Josh is a vet. You know what you're getting with Josh Hart. This idea that he'd be exposed all of a sudden is very silly to me. So, Patrick, I don't know why you say that. Maybe you don't like Josh. Maybe there are things about Josh's game that you don't appreciate or wish were different. But I think that's a very silly take when it comes from Josh Hart. Now, as far as Deuce McBride's concerned, same thing. I think it's kind of silly. Deuce is somebody who was drafted by the Knicks, didn't get playing time, worked his tail off, was on the bench, barely got minutes, and then 2 seasons ago, they signed him to a team-friendly deal. Dante's gone, Grimes is gone, and all of a sudden everything just kind of opens up for him, and he gets a spot in the rotation. Out of nowhere, he starts hitting 3 balls. And you realize that this guy has just been working his tail off his whole career and was prepared for this moment. He is a smaller guard. I understand that. But he's a great point of attack defender. And we're not asking him to be Jalen Brunson. We're not asking him to lead this team in anything. He doesn't have to. He just come off the bench, hit threes, and play good defense. And Deuce has shown that he's more than capable of that. So I don't really get this take here. Patrick also commented he would prefer Russell Westbrook. For those people who would prefer Westbrook, I get it from the standpoint of he's one of the best point guards of all time, and even though he's not what he used to be, he can still be a valuable piece on the bench. I understand the logic there. I just think he's a good fit. But this take right here, just if you're a Knicks fan and you're rooting for the Knicks and you've seen how well these two have performed over the past few years, and yeah, I know Deuce went cold in the playoffs, and I know that he has gone cold in some spots here or there, but he's also has been huge in big games as well. And Josh has been our best player in some playoff series. The Philadelphia series, he was the best player on the Knicks, maybe aside from Jalen Brunson from Game 3 on. But for the whole series, they don't win that series without Josh Hart. So it's just silly to me. Josh has proven himself. And to me, Deuce is younger, but I think we know what he is. Someone who can hit the three ball and someone who can defend. That's all you got to expect from him. So to be exposed to me is just kind of silly. All right, well, listen. Again, we're trying to build a Knicks community here, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Would you want Landry Shamet? Would you want DeLon Wright to come back? Or would you want someone like Corey Joseph? Or there's someone out there that nobody's talking about, aside from the Ben Simmons of the world, aside from the Russell Westbrooks of the world, that you would want to be on the New York Knicks? Let me know, and I'll catch you tomorrow for an episode of Knicks Latest. Peace.